Hi folks, this is a quick video to update you on my book journal and on the spreads I will be using next year. Now, if you don't know, I made a video a while ago. I'll link that below, and that video is more detailed about the way I use and I organize my book journal. Now, it's basically a bullet book journal. Now, this was the spread for 2018 for my goals. It's pretty simple, and here I had my future log. Now, from that video you know that I didn't use this at all, so I'm not having any future logs for my bullet journal for next year, because I use my monthly spreads more or less as a future log, as you may know if you've seen my last video on that. So this was my spread for my reading goals, and that has changed for next year. Now we have the new spread. The left side seems similar, so I have the number of books. My long-term projects haven't changed: Classics Club, Viragos and Persephones. On the small square I just have my goal for the year. For example, 80 books, to read 80 books during the year, to read 40 books from my Classics Club list, and so on and so forth. My goal for countries, it was to read a certain amount of countries in 2018. This year I just want to read 3 different countries I haven't read before, and I'll write down here. What I've added was to read 3 books by this publisher here, the Fitzcarraldo editions, at least 3 books, and my Century of Books list, 1 book for each year of the 19th century. I want to read 12 books of poetry, 10 books of non-fiction, and I will keep reading the books for this series here. Now, I also have a list of new authors, new to me authors I want to read next year. And I left some space here to add specifically 19th century women authors that are new to me and that I will read this year. So they will be added here, and I will mark as I read all of them. Here I added another long-term project, Speak Its Name, that consists basically in reading queer fiction. I will link my blog page on this project below. And I made a list of books that fit this challenge and that I want to read soon. I also take part in Back to the Classics and Victorian challenges. All of that will be linked below. They are challenges hosted by two different bloggers. And here I have all the categories for the Back to the Classics challenge, and in pencil I wrote the titles of the books that correspond to each category, and the same for the Victorian challenge. Here I listed some books from the Fitzcarraldo editions that I would like to read to complete my challenge, the same for the Persephones. And here a list of 19th century books that could fit my Century of Books challenge and that I want to read soon. So that when I organize my TBR, I come here and see, oh, I want to read this book. It's quicker to organize the TBR. Here a list of African authors that I want to read next year. I want to read at least 3 new African authors, because if you remember, I have a map here where I coloring the countries as I read them, and I haven't read practically anything by African authors in 2018, and I want to rectify that next year. Here I made a list of my most anticipated novels that were published recently, and I left a space to add some more. And here a list of books by the Virago Press that I want to read soon. And here the things start to change. First of all, I've written down all the reading events I will participate in next year, and I color-coded these events. So each event has a different symbol, a different color here. And you understand that when you see my monthly spreads. Here I have a space to write down the books for my local book club, and a space to write down the long-listed books for the Women's Prize and Men Booker International Prizes. And this, if I want to follow another prize, I can write the list of books here. Now, if you remember, my monthly spreads last year looked like this. I have had a calendar, a list of monthly events color-coded, a list of books I wanted to read, the corresponding projects, and here I noted if I read the book, if I reviewed the book on my blog, and the star rating. Now, first thing, the events that were color-coded changed throughout the year, but some events remained the same, like yearly read-alongs and so on. And each year I had a different color for the event. So that's why I created this list here, so as to unify the symbols I use for each event, so that I don't have this problem I had last year where each month had different colors, different symbols. So throughout 2019, all the symbols will remain the same for the same events. That's the first change. Another change on my monthly spreads is that I divided by weeks. So here, just the books I will read during the month. Here, I just divided each week which books I will be reading. Also, I'm not writing down the projects because I have the symbols here that allow me just to color here in front of the book title to which project this book I will be reading corresponds. For instance, first week of January, I will read North and South, and this book corresponds to my Victorian Challenge and my Classics Club Challenge. So I don't need this project column anymore. That's first change. Second change, I don't have star rating because that's not interesting for me anymore. I just want to know if I read and if I wrote a review of the book. And so I have all my books planned until December. That's why my monthly spreads look like a future log. And I intend to do some decoration here, also to write perhaps the blog posts I'm planning to post, to publish each week. I also have space that to do that kind of planning. So yeah, that's it for my new spreads. Tell me below if you keep a book journal and if you have any suggestions for me. Oh, just another thing. I don't know if you noticed, but also on my lists here of books I'm interested in reading, I also color-coded when they eventually corresponded to other projects in my to other projects of mine. For instance, this book here, The Well of Loneliness. It's a book primarily for my Speak Its Name project, Queer Lit, but it could also fit my Classics Club project, Little Blue Star, and also my long-term project of reading all the Virago books, so on and so forth. Yeah, now that's it. I've made a free printable of a book journal, and you can download if you want. I'll just link below where you can download the printable. I hope you enjoyed, and I see you next year. Bye bye.